Hello, NFL fans. It's Saturday. We've made it through another work week.
We
And
did.
it's time for another episode of Jackson Pigskins. I'm Tom Pollen, along with Wanda Weidman.
Hey, everyone.
So, it's been a wild week in the NFL.
It has.
And I don't think, I've been trying to remember if we've ever seen something like this before. A starting quarterback, not just a starting quarterback, long-time starting quarterback,
Yeah.
being paid big money
Yeah.
and being released by a team. And do you remember anything?
I don't either. I can't recall when that happened, but yeah, I mean, I was expecting maybe at the end of the year something was gonna happen there, but
Sure.
yeah, right in the heart of the season, I thought, wow, that was kind of odd, but
Well, that's when these things happen, is the end
Yeah.
of the season. They don't
Yeah.
happen in the middle of an NFL season.
Yeah.
And of course, everybody knows by now we're talking about Daniel Jones, released by the New York Giants. And, we're going to discuss where things lie as far as where things went wrong with Jones' career in New York. And basically what he did right, what he did wrong, what hadn't been fixed, what the Giants tried to do. It's a mess, though, the way they did it.
Yeah.
And I'm a little ticked off at the Giants, too. And we'll get into that, about the way they did this thing.
Yeah.
So, but Jones, to give you a little background, 6th overall pick in the 2019 NFL draft out of Duke. 6 seasons, the Giants were 24-44-1 in games he started. Oh, there's Zozo, by the way. She doesn't care if we're on the air. Zozo just walks back and forth in front of the camera. Threw for 14,582 yards, 70 touchdowns, and 47 interceptions. So, a little bit more than a touchdown to interception ratio, not 2-1. It's, not as good as you want to see out of your starting quarterback.
Right.
So it came out of the same class as first overall pick, Kyler Murray. And pretty much the rest of that class has gone into the drink. I don't.
Right. Yeah.
There really is nobody else who has made a mark for themselves out of that class. But coming out of college, everybody was talking about Jones' dual threat ability. He can run as well as throw the ball. Very effective runner. I'd say probably as good as any running quarterback in the NFL. He showed a lot of flashes as a runner. Very strong hitting his first read, but not good at anticipation and not good throwing a deep ball. Mm-hmm. So positives and negatives to his game.
Right.
Now, but what gets me is they hired Brian Daboll to try and help him develop more, better. And they succeeded the first year because the Giants made the playoffs, beat the Vikings in their first playoff game. But, in this instance, it's like the Giants didn't just demote Jones. They tried to humiliate him. GM Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll, they set out to humiliate him, which I think is terrible for a guy who has done his best for your team.
Right.
And he has tried to has always played hard, may not have always played effectively, but always played hard.
Right.
you know, but they announced this last Monday, didn't do it during their bye week, announced this last Monday that they were benching Jones for second-year quarterback Tommy DeVito, which is, I look at about the same way as Caleb Williams getting replaced by, God, I just blanked on the name.
Was it I know, so did I. I don't know what's happening here.
Tyler Bagent.
Yeah, Tyler.
It is kind of like
Tyson Bagent. Yeah.
Tyson Bagent. Yeah. My God. I'm telling you.
You know, what's interesting here is this whole thing is just a big stink when you look at just how the organization itself has been handled. You know, you look at I think the biggest tell was the whole Hard Knocks in the offseason.
Yes.
And seeing that you get to really see how Schoen is working here. I mean, the one part where you see Mara come in and he's like questioning about, is this thing about Barkley going to bite us in the rear end? And Schoen's like hoping not. And obviously it bit him in the rear end big time.
It is, yes.
And so now you see how this whole thing is being, handled with where you see this major decline in Jones, whether it has to do with, the front line, getting the pieces needed to help him acclimate the team and get him back to where he was. And this is what I found interesting. So the quarterback's coach is Shea Tierney, right? Mm-hmm. And what I found interesting about him, that when you read about him in their own website regarding, what they do and so on, it's all about Tommy DeVito. And I find that so fascinating that it's how much he helped and built up DeVito and the 3 games he won last season. And I mean, this whole thing, you're like, wait, what is going on here? Like, what is happening? And then later on, it says how he helped also with, Daniel Jones and getting his season better. And then to see how they handled the situation in, like you said, not even, doing it in the bye and at least benching him then, getting the team ready. It's like they've been getting the team ready for Tommy DeVito from the get-go, from the beginning of the season. And we just got to play Jones because he's on this contract. Now they're, now they take the chance of benching him and seeing what they're going to do, maybe trying to get him to work on some mechanics or whatever the case could be. And instead, let's see what you're going to do at safety.
Yes. They had him playing scout team safety. I know.
Right. So you're sitting, I mean, what a slap in the face to Jones. Yes. And so you're now seeing this organization that is like, it's now up there with the Cowboys here. What is happening with this organization? And Dable was supposed to be this guy that was helping. So when you see the press conference with Dable, I mean, talk about the best dancer that could be in a press conference to dance around the questions. And every single answer that came out of him is that Jones has been professional. He's a professional.
Yes.
He's but you sure as hell didn't treat him like a professional.
No, you didn't.
And this is where I see that how this kind of came about is just kind of bizarre, because then you look at the fact that Drew Lock is the backup, number 2, and yet now they're going to promote Tommy DeVito as the starter.
Yes.
And not Drew Lock. It is just a complete mess.
And Locke has I mean, he hasn't come out and said anything publicly except that other than he feels that, he's wondering why he's not the number one right now. And
right. You could tell he was hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he came out, actually, Drew Lock came out the same year as Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
2019 quarterbacks.
That's right.
But yeah, it's, that's the thing. You had Jones they had Jones listed on the depth chart at number 4.
Yeah.
Along with Tim Boyle, who's the practice squad quarterback. You didn't just demote him. You totally just completely
just said, we're done with you. I mean, that's basically it. We're done with you and we're moving on. And so, of course, what is Jones going to do? You've now just publicly disrespected him.
Right.
So, yeah, I want out of here. And they were willing to bite the contract amount of money, guaranteed money that he's owed, and just move on.
Well, I know they were worried about the injury guarantee, which I think is around 25 million.
Right.
So they were worried about that injury guarantee in case he got hurt. He has been hurt a couple of times in his career. He's had his seasons ended a couple of times in his career. And I know that's one of the things that led into this. Because, it's obvious they weren't moving forward with Jones.
Right.
But his injury is tending towards injuries. It made it, that kind of let them feel like they needed to make a move, but so they wouldn't have to pay that. People try and call me while we're doing the show.
You're so important, Tom.
I know. Isn't it something? But back to where we were.
Yeah.
But again, you got Jones doing nothing on Wednesday, hands in his pockets.
Mm-hmm.
Thursday, he's playing scout team safety.
Yeah, you can imagine. I mean, I could just picture Jones sitting there going, "What am I doing?
Yes.
What is going on here? What am I doing?" It's like, just tell me you don't want me here. I'll go. Exactly. But they were waiting for him to basically say, "I'm out. I want my release." They wanted him to say he wanted the release, so then this way they could just, put him on waivers and people can just take him as they wish.
Right.
Which the talk now is Dallas is on the clock here, or on the phone to pick him up.
From what I understand, Dallas is not going to take him.
Oh, really?
They're not going to pick him up. You can hear all the rumors that you want. Basically, right now, any team that needs a quarterback is going to be looking at him, kicking the tires, seeing what they can do with him. I've heard talk about the Dolphins as a backup for Tua, a quality backup for Tua.
Yeah.
Because basically what you have right now is the Giants are going to be paying a salary.
Right.
You pay him a minimum to put him on your team.
Yeah. Well, just like the Steelers
rookie
did.
Contract.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
With a number one, with an NFL starter, you can pay him rookie money to be your backup quarterback. Or in the case of the Raiders, who are just sliding fast in this NFL season, you can say, we need anybody, with a pulse to come in here and try and do better than Gardner Minshew.
I would think the Raiders. I mean, Raiders would be my first one that I would say, hey, we need somebody else. and then
Right.
just take him in, being that the Raiders wouldn't be paying any money really because, he's being
Right.
paid. I mean, what a deal that would be for the Raiders.
Yes, it would. Exactly. And I've also heard talk about him being a bridge quarterback for teams that are going to be drafting a quarterback in 2025
Right.
in that draft.
Right.
And
Which would be the Raiders because they're going to have to.
they're going to have to. Right.
Right.
So, that's what it comes down to is, and I think he could be a better bridge quarterback than guys like Joe Flacco or Andy Dalton.
Right.
Who have shown that they just have nothing left. There is nothing left in the tank with either of those quarterbacks.
Right.
Flacco was so bad that the Colts put Anthony Richardson back in the game last week.
Right.
And he
did that.
He brought him back to beat the Jets. I mean,
yeah, I know.
That's a game they would not have won otherwise.
Right.
But, again, just the way that the Giants did this, it's, I say, Schoen and Dable should be fired at the end of the season. Start over. And this gets me, and one of the things that gets me about this, he was popular with his teammates. Their teammates coming out and saying, disagreeing with this move, not being completely, not being outspoken about it, but still letting the press, letting the public, letting the media know what they feel. And Giants might be done for the season.
Yeah, because now at this point, if you don't, with this being upsetting to the team and being where now they've kind of like wondering themselves, well, are we next? Am I next? That kind of mentality. If they lose the locker room over this, that's kind of that's going to say a lot for management, for the coaching staff, for does Dable have the ability to lead the team? Earlier when I watched Hard Knocks, and I think you could tell that Dable wanted one of the quarterbacks that was up there.
Yes.
I think he wanted Daniels. I really do.
Yeah.
I think he wanted Daniels. And but Schoen had other plans. And so you could see that Dable was the yes man, because when he asked him about, he just kind of said, yeah, sure.
Right.
You could tell by the demeanor that's not what he wanted, but he was going to go with what they were going to do. And it's like, if you're the head coach, even though the GM's saying, hey, this is what we're going to do, at least say something. At least say, you know what, I think we have a better chance, but I believe that in this case here, the mistake was signing Jones for that big of a contract that soon. Because that was a shocker when they signed him to that big contract. You're like, really? Okay.
Well, he was coming off his rookie deal.
Yeah.
So they had to make a decision on him.
Yeah, but I think it was too big of a, they could have, did they extend him on the 5th year?
I think they did.
Yeah. So it was, depending on, because I know there was, he was there 6 years. So they extended the 5th year, right? The 5th year. And I think that's when they signed him to this huge contract. Yeah. I think they just went a little bit.
They signed him after he made that playoff run.
Okay.
So they might not have gone to the 5th year option. They might have signed him to that new deal.
Okay. So that was, they were in hopes, wow, they went in this playoff run. Good. Let's sign him. Let's lock him in.
Yeah.
Didn't know that he was going to have that bad of a senior season last year. Granted, they had they were still working on this new offense, but he also didn't have offensive line that could protect him the way that was needed. So they weren't really fixing the team in the sense, and you kind of see a lot of this, right, Tom? We're seeing this in real time.
Yes.
Of teams looking for the power players, but not looking to build the wall that's going to help their power players succeed. So now you have this throughout the league, even with the Broncos. So like with the Broncos and Bo Nix. Bo Nix is doing really well, but he's running a lot because he has to. So, again, you have that situation. You had the situation with Justin Fields and not having a really good offensive line. We're having to see that situation with Caleb Williams. Same situation, not having a strong offensive line. But yet you look at the Commanders, they worked on getting a strong offensive line to give them the protection. Once you see that your quarterback has the protection and can stand in the pocket well, do what he needs to do, then you've got the offensive line you're looking at. But when you're seeing that they're just grabbing players and granted trying to save money because money was spent before, but if you're in a mentality as we're in it to win it, then you do what you need to do to get it to that point.
Yes.
And it's just like you see that the Giants are not there. They're just not there.
They are not. They don't have the offensive line. They don't have, they have the defensive line. Dexter Lawrence is just a monster, but and this comes back to what I keep saying for all teams. We've talked about the Falcons on here a lot about building and, building from the inside out.
Right.
And a lot of teams have got this, mentality lately that, we have to get our specialty players. We have to get our running backs. We have to get our wide receivers. No, that's still not the case.
Right.
It's not going to help you win. Malik Neighbors is an unbelievable talent, a special talent, but the Giants aren't winning because they have Malik Neighbors in the lineup.
Right. Right. You can have that star player, but if you're not building that team to protect the quarterback to get you the ball,
right,
it's really pointless.
Show me a team that has spent its draft capital and its money on building interior lines on both offense and defense. I'll show you a winner. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
That's how you build a team. That's how you built a team 10 years ago, how you built a team 40 years ago, how you built a team 60 years ago. It's still how you build a team.
Right.
And the Giants haven't done that. And it's no wonder that, you're setting up your quarterback to fail when you do these things. And you bring up Jaden Daniels. He's the fifth in the league as far as least pressured.
Right.
Quarterback. He's pressured once in every 5 to 6 dropbacks. He's got plenty of time. He can get the ball to McLaurin or Ertz or, anyway, he's got that time. Yeah.
Look at the Chargers. Okay. So a perfect example, last season, Herbert was just mauled. Because he had no offensive line to help, and he was injured so many times. Harbaugh comes in, let's do this. So who they get? My number one I wanted the Bears to get was Joe Alt from Notre Dame.
That's right.
Just the guy was just incredible in the combine, in the pro day. I mean, he displayed what an offensive lineman would do to protect a quarterback. And what has he done with the Chargers? phenomenal, doing the job that we knew that he could do. This is how you fit the pieces in to get your O-line to do what they need to do. And Herbert is playing at his best.
Yes.
He's doing extremely well. So this is the key, like you and I've talked about, is getting that offensive line, protect your prize winner quarterback to be able to get the ball out so they can get him to the targets they need to. Because if they can get him to even, they don't even have to be, star wide receivers, Ladd McConkey, he wasn't, where everybody was ready to grab him. He wasn't the one talked about, yet he did such a great job in the, I think, I'm not sure if it was the East-West Shrine Bowl that he was playing at, but he did such a great job there. And now everybody's talking about him. And look at what he's doing this year with Herbert.
Right.
And these are just the key things that teams just need to be successful is getting your O-line fixed, getting your defensive line fixed, get the pass rushers, make it even. And like you said before, you have a great O-line, great defense. Your team is going to be successful to get to that Super Bowl.
Yeah. Well, I was looking at it last week with the Falcons playing the Broncos and Bo Nix. The Falcons generated no pass rush.
Right.
And I know a lot of fans would want to blame Kirk Cousins, but that offense did nothing to generate a pass rush. Yeah. And I mean, defense did nothing to generate a pass rush. They weren't even blitzing. They were only rushing 3 or 4 guys, and they were getting carved up by Bo Nix, who was not even the most talked about rookie quarterback.
Right. Now he is.
Now he is, yeah.
Yeah.
And, well, Dave and I on this show have been talking about it and writing about it. We've been covering the Falcons for about 6-7 years now. And talking about the fact that the Falcons don't, you spend the number 1 pick on Kyle Pitts, you spend it on Drake London, you spend it on Michael Penix. Well, you still can't, they're doing a decent job protecting. I'll give them that.
Right.
But they can't rush the they can't rush a quarterback for anything. It's a recipe for failure. I don't care if Michael Penix is going to be your quarterback in 2 years. You can't rush the passer now.
Yeah.
Right. There will be a quarterback in 2 years you can go get.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. Bad decision.
So it's just the way it is. And to me, the quarterback makes the receiver. If you've got a good quarterback, he will make your receiver. Well, Darnell Mooney. He struggled with the Bears for 3 years now after an impressive rookie season.
Yeah.
And look at what Kirk Cousins has made of him.
Yeah.
Exactly. Your quarterback makes your wide receiver, not the other way around.
That's right. Exactly. And if you protect the quarterback, it doesn't, as long as your wide receiver can catch a ball, then they're gonna have to obviously make themselves open, make sure that they're giving the quarterback a chance to make a play. But at the same time, it's like, you have all these rookies. This was one of the drafts that we had. How many rookies go in the first round, and each of them able to play. They're all starting quarterbacks. But some of them a little bit more successful because they've got more of a protective front.
Yes.
So
you look at Bryce Young last year, first overall pick, and the Panthers have done nothing to help him out.
Right.
He was one of the most pressured quarterbacks last year. He's 29th most pressured quarterback this season. How is he supposed to succeed?
Right.
And you were going to try and put Andy Dalton behind that line. Andy Dalton is statue.
I know. That's funny.
and try to succeed with him.
Yeah.
Caleb Williams is 28th in pressures and being pressured.
Yeah.
Anthony Richardson, 31st. You want to see what you got with Anthony Richardson? Try and protect him first. Put somebody in front of him first.
They're your future, right? They're the team's future.
Yes.
And if you want to make them your franchise quarterback, you're going to put all the pieces that you need to protect him. And if that's the last thing that you're doing because you want to give him the key targets, that's not going to help him when the pressure comes and these teams are blitzing like crazy.
Yes.
And putting the pressure on, and they don't know how to protect themselves.
Yeah.
Because they're running for their lives.
They're
scrambling. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Defensive coordinators are not stupid. They will figure you out.
Yep. Exactly.
That's what gets me, Yeah. Hey, Brian. We got Brian here today.
Hey, Brian.
Yeah. But, talking about Anthony Richardson, 31st. But you want to see what he can do for your team. They're spending the rest of the year judging whether he can be the franchise quarterback or not. But you're not going to get an accurate reading on him if you can't protect him.
Right.
Will Levis, 34th, again, one of the most pressured quarterbacks in the league.
Right.
And the Titans want to see what he has for him. Well, the Titans spent time, built up their running back with Pollard and wide receiver Ridley. Well, you didn't put anybody in front of your damn rookie, young quarterback.
Yeah.
And CJ Stroud is one of the most pressured quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah.
Fortunately, he actually knows a little of what he's doing now because he's been able to still succeed.
Right.
He doesn't look as good as he has last year, but he's succeeding. But he's facing unbelievable pressure from defenses. If you want to compete, you can't compete unless you protect these guys.
Right.
There's enough pressure on young quarterbacks as it is.
Yeah.
Without, letting them face defensive lines, edge rushers, linebackers with no ability to protect him.
Right.
Nobody up front who can do the job for you. So, it's rough to say. So we'll see. But again, Bo Nix, well, he did great without pressure on him last week. He tore the Falcons apart.
Yeah. Yeah, he sure did.
He was one of your waiver wire guys from last week.
He was. Yep.
And Bo Nix, and just to go into the Falcons a little bit, Jimmy Key has got to be fired.
Yeah.
Not even trying to bring extra pressure on the Broncos last week. Only rushing three or four for every snap. That's all he was doing, trying to overcome, the lack of secondary depth because he had a couple of injuries. Wasn't working because Bo Nix had all day to pick out a receiver.
Yeah.
It gets very frustrating, and that's, again, it's something I have been pushing the Falcons, pushing on the Falcons to do for the last 4 years, is draft an edge rusher. They don't. So it's what you see when you got a quarterback who's well protected and you can't get a pass rush against him. I don't care who you have in your secondary. He's going to pick you apart.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Patrick Surtain back there, he's going to pick you apart.
Yep.
It's the way it is.
That's the way it is.
And Ryan says our base defense is now 2-4-5. That's not going to work. No.
Yeah, that's very true. It's very true. Yeah,
No,
it's almost like the Falcons defense has just kind of gotten quiet. It's like they've just kind of tempered their expectations. And that comes from not having a whole lot of respect maybe for the defensive coordinator. If he's not, they could be sitting back there going, what are you doing? I mean, we need to do this, or we need some help here. Again, front office, where's the help? Where's the pass rush that we were looking for, that you were supposed to fix in the off season? Well, it's showing now, because of I think the way that the NFL scheduled this year was bonkers. In the situation like with the bye weeks, how many teams are in the bye this week?
Yeah.
And I think it's the same thing's going to happen next week or the following week. It's like it's bananas.
Yes, it is.
And you have long stretches where these teams are playing long stretches. You get them where they've got a momentum, then they take the bye, come back, and you're hoping that they're going to keep that momentum. But I think the Falcons needed that break when they needed that bye to figure out what they needed to do. But in the meantime, their defense has just not been what they started out, kind of a little bit with their foot on the pedal, and just now are fizzled. They've just completely fizzled out.
Yeah, it's been terrible.
Because we know that you can put pressure on the Broncos. You can put pressure on Bo Nix, and I've seen a couple of teams able to do that, but he had all day. And Sean Payton had their number in one way or the other, knew how to carve it out, and Bo Nix answered the call.
Yeah, he did. Brian, we've drafted all these D linemen and only have 2 on the field. You're right, Brian.
Yeah.
That's the problem. You haven't drafted anybody who can make a difference on the field. And that's been it.
Maybe the scouting team. What's going on with the scouting team when they're scouting?
But ultimately, it comes down to Terry Fontenot.
Yeah.
And again, spending his first round picks on flash instead of built first round picks on a strong foundation.
Right. When you look at all those D linemen, the D linemen, the pass rushers that were still available when the Falcons had their first round pick.
Yeah.
And they went with Penix. All Falcon fans had a right to be mad. And now
a lot of Falcons fans celebrated it.
Oh, well, I know there were some that were not upset, but they just didn't draft well.
No, they didn't. Arnold Ebiketie is a bust. This is his 3rd season. You're getting nothing from him. He's a bust. He's done. Matt Judon is a bust. You're getting nothing from him. It's a terrible thing. It's a rough thing to watch.
Yeah.
But for some reason, when it comes to drafting defensive linemen who could either seal the edge or rush the quarterback, they're not doing it. And I know a lot of times you hope Grady Jarrett can step up more, but Jarrett's coming off of a knee injury and he's 31. So
I don't even think Grady Jarrett's coming back next season.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
So I really don't think so. It's a hell of a thing, but this is what the Falcons have brought in. If Tampa does win the division, it's a real indictment of Raheem Morris and Terry Fontenot.
Yeah.
Because they've already beaten Tampa twice this year. All right, that's a huge indictment.
Yeah.
On the coach and the general manager of this team. Because I was saying it 2 weeks ago before the Saints game, this team had the division. They had it in their grip. They had it locked up. All they had to do was beat the Saints. Yeah, they might have lost to the Broncos, but they got the Chargers coming up. That's the toughest defense to score on in the league.
Yeah.
You've got an extra game on the Buccaneers because you beat them twice. But, you're going to blow that.
Yeah.
But, they're getting Mike Evans back.
Yep.
And we'll see how things go.
Yeah.
But to talk about Tampa Bay and their quarterback, Baker Mayfield does not face the fewest pressures at quarterback in the NFL. He is the second least pressured quarterback in the NFL. That's why the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are able to win with Baker Mayfield at quarterback and compete in every game.
Yeah.
That is why you don't pressure Baker Mayfield. Plus, with Vita Vea in the middle, they get a lot of pressure on opposing quarterbacks. Makes a big difference.
It does. It does.
All right. Well, I think we have probably said just about all we have to say about quarterbacks in this show.
Yep.
Let's move on to Wanda's waiver wire.
Yay.
And you've been killing it, Wanda. Just, if people listen to you.
I'm hoping, I'm helping people here.
Yeah. What do you got for us today?
So what I have today are a couple of, because it's kind of hard towards the last part of the season when we're starting to get to the playoffs. You're going to have some trickling of players. However, because of the bye, we had so many teams, a lot of people had to fix that. Okay. They've got, like, I know on mine, I had like four teams on buys. So I had to make sure I had my bench ready to go with replacements. So I've got two wide receivers to go with. So we've got Quentin Johnson from the Chargers. And right now, Ladd McConkey has a shoulder injury. So he didn't participate. It didn't play practice on Monday or Tuesday, I think it was. Wednesday, he was limited. So they're going to see how it goes come today's practice to see whether or not he's going to be able to play. But even if he does play, he's not going to play as much because of the shoulder. So Quentin Johnson is going to be your backup there. You want to make sure you've got that backup. And I think he's going to get some pretty good touches on Sunday. And in case you need a flex wide receiver, Rome Odunze from the Bears. He's had some pretty good couple of weeks, just being able to get at least 10 points for it. So if you just need a flex wide receiver to get in there, I think against Minnesota with his height and being able to get in that backfield, I think he's going to be a good fill-in for your waiver wire. And then for your running backs are very scarce. A lot of running backs have been picked up and are pretty solid. But as a running back for another flex, Roschon Johnson from the Bears as well. he's been able to be used at the, in the red zone, when you've got like 5 yards and you need that touchdown, at least you've got, you'll get one, because he's been doing that every single game, at least getting one touchdown in just in the goal line stance there. So just a quick, I need 7 points or I need 6 points, there's your flex player. And then for tight end, there's two. I've got two tight ends. Again, tight ends are all over the place, because you're going to get some. You've got some tight ends that are in injury status. So for Dallas, Ferguson is on an injury status. So Luke Schoonmaker, I know, bizarre name, but Schoonmaker, he actually did pretty well last week. So I would go ahead and pick him up. If you had Ferguson and you're looking for someone, Luke Schoonmaker or tight end Will Dissly, still on waiver wires that you can pick up. He's from the Chargers as well. He's been doing extremely well. And I think he would be a great replacement there if you need a tight end, or currently your tight end sucks and you need a replacement. I'd pick Dissly right now, just to fill in. And just by shocking, it's possible if Hawkinson is still available in some leagues on waiver wires for Minnesota, grab him. The Bears against tight ends have not been that successful. They seem to get up the middle pretty well. So grab Hawkinson if he's available as well.
Yeah, Jaquan Brisker being out for the Bears has played a huge role in their ability to stop tight ends.
Big time. Yeah, that's been a huge problem there. They've got a lot of different defensive players that are coming in, so we'll see. A couple that they brought in to help out. So Adrian Colbert, I think that they brought in to help out in safety. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, but Hawkinson was injured for a while this season, so some teams might have dropped him.
Yep.
And if they did, take advantage of it. Go ahead and grab him.
And another, just to throw this in, if he's still on, he was inactive, which is the Kansas City Chiefs star running back now, for the life of me. His name is just skipping.
Oh, Hunt?
No. What the heck?
Pacheco coming back?
Pacheco, thank you. Yeah, Pacheco, he's not they're going to sit him out this week because a lot of projections was he was going to start. He is not starting this week, but I would keep him on the bench because most likely next week or the following he's going to be playing, and he's going to be fantastic for you coming into the playoffs. So I've got him on my bench waiting for the go ahead when I get into the playoffs, getting in there. Right now I've got a 8-3 record on my fantasy, so I'm hoping to keep that rolling.
See, you listen to Wanda, you might have an 8-3 record in your fantasy. You might be well set up for the playoffs.
Yeah.
And Friedman says he's inactive. Yeah, we understand that he's inactive, but Wanda's saying have him. Just have him. That's all you need. So again, you've been listening to Wanda. You're doing pretty good in fantasy over the last couple of weeks. And she's been stirring the right. So I would say I would go look for those players. I will say Roschon Johnson's not going to give you a lot of yards.
Nope.
But he's going to give you touchdowns.
Yep. And if you just need it, just that flex, just a flex player. Again, that reminder, always kind of keeping your flex option not on. Don't take a Thursday game and stick it on your flex. You don't want to do that. Just leave the flex open and At least you can put them in there if you need to. You can all of a sudden find out that you're running back right before game time. Something happened in practice and they're down. At least somebody that you can put in there that will at least get you one touchdown.
Yeah, that's somebody you can at least count on and get you a few points instead of striking out. But striking out, baseball,
Yeah. Gotta throw that in there.
Go back and forth. All right, we're going to go for our Week 12 picks. Wanda has hers. I have my Nostradamus picks for Week 12. And Wanda, what do you have for us to start out with?
I've got Tampa Bay versus the Giants. I've got the Bucks to win by 7.
Yeah.
And then I've got Arizona versus Seattle. And I think this is going to be a tight game. So I'm saying the Seahawks win by 1.
Well, they're favored by 1.
Yeah. So I think they're going to win by 1 point.
I think you're running about the same line as the sports books.
Yeah. And then San Francisco versus Green Bay. Since the 49ers don't have Purdy, I'm picking the Packers. Yeah, picking the Packers.
Joey Bosa's out for the week too. So
who else is?
Joey Bosa.
Oh yeah, Joey Bosa. Right. So I'm picking the Packers to win by 6.
I think that's a great run, Wanda. I would agree with you there.
Cool.
Yeah, and Brian brought it up a little bit earlier about this week being the Harbaugh Bowl.
Yeah.
Last time Jim Harbaugh was with San Francisco, and now he's with the Chargers, and going to be a Monday night game in Los Angeles at SoFi Stadium. Jim and John Harbaugh. And Brian also said, hired the wrong dude again, is when we were talking about the Falcons coach. Yeah, Brian Harbaugh was the choice.
Yeah.
Harbaugh was the choice to be the coach, anybody's head coach. It's the Chargers who got him. The Bears should have, they let go of their offensive coordinator. They should have also let go of Eberflus, brought Harbaugh in.
Yeah.
Proven leader, proven winner.
Yeah.
But no, we can't have that. And the Falcons, I think the Falcons talked to him, but they didn't hire him, which was a huge mistake. Right. Harbaugh was the trophy hiring of this last season. So, and the Chargers were the ones who got it done. So, Nostradamus, I was 3-0 on my best bets again last week. Which puts me at 19-13 with a 5-9. Oh, hold it. No, I'm actually better than 19-13 now. I am 22-13 with my best bets. With 629 winning percentage this season on my best bets. So if you've listened to my picks, then you've got it right.
There you go.
You've been doing well. But this week, last week, while the Vikings beat Tennessee, which we kind of knew was going to happen, it's just Tennessee. I took the Broncos. I didn't want to take the Broncos -2 against the Falcons, but I didn't think the Falcons, with their secondary issues, would be able to hold them down. And Falcons defense failed.
Right.
And I took the Chargers +1.5 at home against the Bengals. Chargers did try to charge that game away, but they actually did. Again, you got Jim Harbaugh winner, so they actually did come through and win that game.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of chalk for this week's game, and talking about chalk, it means a lot of favorites. And a lot of favorites who are going to win, I think, big. There's a lot of mismatches in this week's schedule.
Yeah.
And it's tough to see. I have a 28 statistical categories that I rate teams in, and that kind of starts me off on how I do my picks. And most of these games are just statistical blowouts. And I think some of them might end up being blowouts. To start with, the Denver Broncos, we're going to climb on that wagon again. They are favored by 6 against the fading Las Vegas Raiders. I think with the way Bo Nix has been playing, and the Raiders have just been slipping badly under Gardner Minshew.
Yep.
I think this is a fantastic bet for people. Broncos -6. Tampa Bay Buccaneers -6 at home against the New York Giants. So I agree with you there, Wanda. I think the Giants are just, I can't see them putting up any kind of offense against the Buccaneers, against one of the better defenses in the league. With Mike Evans coming back, I think the Buccaneers score. I think Tommy DeVito is going to look like a deer in the headlights, about halfway through that game.
Yeah.
And to finish off, I'm taking the Packers minus the 3.5 points, favored by the field goal and the hook. Well, I'm not as worried about that half-point hook this week because, again, Brock Purdy is out. Joey Bosa is out. Take the Packers minus the 3.5. And we will see how it goes next week. I'm looking for another big week. But I am sailing as far as my best bets this season. So, but that's all the time we have. I had a lot of fun talking with you again today.
Yeah. It was good. Good discussion.
But, yeah. And we'll see what happens on the Thanksgiving games next week. And I was going to ask the question. I never asked the question. What do people do do anybody do things special for Thanksgiving, for football or just for dinner? But, I didn't answer. You got family coming over, Wanda?
No, it's just our fam, and my daughter is in Oregon, so she won't be here. But my son and my parents and just all of us kind of just hanging out, and me watching the football game behind my dad, where everybody's at the table and I'm focused on. But other than that, yeah, we just hang out as family. So it's usually
great. Yeah, that's what I'm about. I'm heading over to my sister's and just have a quiet dinner. So
that's great.
It'll be nice.
Well, I hope everybody has a happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the games. If you have, I think what's Netflix, they're showing the Thanksgiving game. So be sure to watch it from there and have a great week.
Yeah, everybody have a great week.